Aloha and welcome back to the week that was. I am your host, Colin Edsman, and let's just relish in the green for a moment. This week was great. Now, there are a lot of other macro stuff going on, but honestly, the markets just don't care. We have mixed but overall positive growth for the week on the S&P 500 as well as NASDAQ, Russell. Surprisingly enough, it's all tech and semiconductors leading gains. Well, the Dow lagged just a little bit. But before we get into that, this week was just an all over the place kind of week with new content coming out, new equipment being used. So I hope the view for you guys is doing good on your end. I think it's doing great on my end here. It looks great. Audio is coming in nicely. Maybe I'll turn it up just a tad if I'm coming in a little bit too quiet. Check, check, check. All right. Mic check, mic check. Excuse me. So last week Sunday we went and checked out a Jim Brickman concert, and that was incredible. If you've never seen Jim Brickman before or you've never heard of him before, do yourself a favor and go and check out some of his music. Honestly, I think you've probably heard some of his music already because of how many songs he's written for other people. So do yourself a favor and go check out Jim Brickman. I had a great time. He came to my little town here on the Big Island, so that was really nice of him to grace us with his incredible piano talent. Um, as well as we got some other things going on here. The local gas prices are still really high. Now, the overall gas market is not necessarily coming down, um, because the strait itself, the Strait of Hormuz, this boring expanse of water that we've been having to cover for the last umpteen weeks at this point, it's still being blocked and blockaded. It's got mines in there again. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on because I don't care anymore because the markets don't care anymore. The S&P 500 finished the week up a 0.5%, closing at a fresh record high of 7,165.08 on Friday today. It set multiple record closes during the week, including Wednesday and marked its fourth straight weekly gain. Now, y'all know I'm a little bit on the pragmatic side. I want this to keep going, and it will at some point, but it's going to cool off as well. So please take profits. I'm going to say that again for your friend in the back behind you. Take profits. That's it. I heard a good quote at one point. I cannot recall who said it. If you remember who said it, just drop it in the chat. But it sits in the very front of my mind. It's one of my main trading mantras. You don't go broke taking profits. That's it. Just take them. When you see them, take them. Don't be greedy. If you have a plan and it's getting close to that plan and it's starting to get to that percentage you like to take gains at, just take it. I had some concerns with that. Just looking at it, I'm like, you know what? Look at it. It could go higher. It could go higher. It could also fall out of the sky because everything's kind of at a tippity top, 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 right? It's going to cool off. Nothing goes straight up forever, right? So it's important we stay level headed and take profits when we see them. So I took some of that today, as well as throughout the rest of the week, because I saw good opportunities. Semiconductors were rallying all week. The NASDAQ composite rose about 1.5% for the week, closing at a new all-time high of 24,836.60, 1.6% today alone. Tech strength, especially in chips and AI related names, drove out performance. Now, let's talk about Intel for a second. Oh my goodness. Intel blew through the roof after earnings. I'm going to get a couple more details for you. Give me 1 second. But if you didn't hear about Intel this week, you probably don't trade on the stock market, because Intel was literally in every news outlet, from Twitter to Facebook to the regular old news. But let me get some detailed information for you. Now, I hope you're doing well wherever you are, whenever you are. I myself am really enjoying the overall green week, and I'm greatly enjoying my time with my son and my life. So nothing but blessings over here. All right, here we go. Intel Corp, pretty large size position for myself. Intel delivered a strong beat that surpassed Wall Street and ignited a massive rally. Revenue $13.6 billion, well above consensus expectations, 7% year over year. If you picked up Intel somewhere around last June, you'd be up a couple of 100%. Last June, it got as low as $18, somewhere in there. And it closed today over 80. Here are the key growth drivers. Data center and AI, $5.1 billion, 22% year over year. Strong demand for CPUs in AI, inference, and services. Intel Foundry. Now, this is a big one. Grandpa and I covered this on a podcast that's currently uploading to the internet. It's pretty large. There's a small snippet of it on my X account. Check it out at Colin Edsman on X. But Grandpa and I went over Intel and IBM. He was a long time holder, honestly probably one of the oldest holders of Intel and IBM on the planet, and for the longest time as well. He started working at IBM in the mid-50s, 57 at the latest that he started. Now, in 1957, he was working for IBM with the IBM 650. At the time, that was cutting-edge technology, and he was learning how to do it, and long story short, he was supposed to get on an airplane that crashed in the ocean, but because he had to take that class for the IBM 650, he didn't end up on that flight. If I don't recall correctly, please correct me, but I think it was called the Romance of the Skies. Went into the ocean somewhere in 1957, heading towards Honolulu. He was supposed to be on that flight, and who knows what would have happened if he did end up on that flight. The things he did, but you can follow up on that when the podcast uploads later on this evening. Enjoy it over the weekend. Grandpa and I had a great conversation, and I had a great time learning the subtle nuances of creating content for you. I utilized the new equipment that I got throughout the week and learned a couple things. The microphone there was a bit of a delay, sort of like I'm delaying right now, probably on the internet here. But there was a delay, and I had to learn how to cut and paste sounds to match the way we were talking. So that was a new experience for me. If you have any tips for that, by all means, drop me some information. But back to Intel. And no, we're not going to talk about IBM. We're going to keep talking about Intel. But the foundry, let me get back to that. So foundries was the reason that Grandpa Dave didn't sell at any point. Because if AI was a thing, like he said, then foundries would and chips would still need to be made. And he was suspecting that, well, Intel has some of the only ones that are already built. And it takes a little while to build a foundry for microchips and processors and all the things that Intel makes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything there is to know about tech. I'm a person who knows what good leadership looks like, so I follow leadership with companies, not all the time the stuff that they make. So, that being said, guidance for this coming quarter, Q2, revenue 13.8 billion to 14.8 billion. Hey, what's up, Quantum Queso Dip? My favorite guy. I think I've got it going here this time, man. I mean, I see your stuff in the chat today. Trump gave us a trade alert on Intel back in August. Yes, 100% right. I've had Intel a long time. The family has had it since, well, if you're listening in already, Grandpa had Intel shares from the 50s, right? So there's no chance I wasn't going to just keep buying it no matter what. And if he had faith in it, I was going to have faith in it. But we got one of those, like, I hate the CEO things with Trump, and then Intel dropped, and then the government put in a stake with Intel right after, and then it ripped. So we're getting that kind of Trump media pump with it, and now that the government's got a stake in Intel, I'm personally really excited. But hey, thank you for joining me in the chat, Quantum. If you have anything you want to jump in and talk about, yeah, drop it in the chat. And if there's ever a chance that you want to actually try to do this, like spaces or have a pod, let me know. I'm willing to try it out. I'm trying out all kinds of new stuff. All right, so not to get into the nitty gritty of Intel, because we're going to get into it at a whole different podcast. We're just going to detail and deep dive into Intel. Some of the other big things that happened today, or this week, Dow Jones Industrial Average declined modestly, closing at 49,230.71. I don't really care about the Dow, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of effort into that. I don't know. The Dow is kind of meh. You only hear it every once in a while. I'm just not a Dow Jones Industrial Average human being. The Russell, small caps, Russell 2000, super important. That's how I kind of cut my teeth in the trading game, is small caps and micro caps. Naively, but I figured it out, and here we are, in profit, not drowning. Knock on wood. Never blown up a portfolio either, because I know what the heck I'm doing. Russell 2000 showed relative strength early in the week with record closes, but ended mixed overall. That's okay. Biddy. What's Biddy? Here, clarify that for me, broski. I'm happy to go into whatever Biddy is, if I know what it is. So let's go over some geopolitics and some earnings. So the U.S.-Iran tensions remained, I want to say, fluid. Nobody knows what's happening, man. I don't know what's happening. I mean, is it closed? Is it open? Personally, on a local standpoint, on a local standfront, I'm seeing gas prices at $5.87 for regular and like $8 for diesel. So that's terrible if you drive a whole bunch. The week started with renewed concerns over the strait, shipping disruptions, ships seized and attacked, causing oil prices to rebound sharply. Brent briefly topping $100 to $103. This introduced volatility, especially earlier in the week. Now, with the usual Taco Tuesday we always get, later optimism around potential peace talks and ceasefire extension. Yeah, we were kind of in limbo there for a second, weren't we? Just ceasefire for how long? It's like 3 weeks, I think, now. I don't know. I'm having a really difficult time wanting to keep this information in my head because it keeps changing. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to hold on to? Jeez. Here's some earnings information. Q1 earnings season provided strong support many companies beat expectations with standout results in tech and AI. So I'm seeing like, I think I saw a stat today on Kalshi that AI is making up what, 45% of the S&P 500 at the moment. That is a huge percentage of not necessarily AI companies, but companies that are utilizing AI in some way. It could be more. People just aren't even talking about it. I don't know. Can you use AI in? You know what? I can't come up with a random company that can't use AI because all companies can use AI. If you have money, you can use AI. Ramp is a great way to do that. Oh, welcome to the tropics. There's an insect in here. Leave, or I'll cue you. Are you on my pants now? Oh, gosh. Ugh. Sorry, cockroach on my pants. All right, back to it. Like I said, Intel surged sharply. So when Intel came out with earnings, they went up from like 65 to 80, 84 at that initial spike. Oh, here we go. Infrastructure is where it's at. Like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right about that. Hold up, hold up. Mm-mm-mm. Infrastructure. Yeah, Quantum, you're 100% right. AI infrastructure is where it's at, like GLW, ticker symbol GLW. Corning is, if you don't know what that is. Now, if you want more deep dive information about Corning, just go and check out Quantum. He's got all of the information that you need. It's at Quantum Queso Dip on X. I'm not going to try to explain Corning, but Corning has been on an absolute rip. Let's see if we can pull up the chart here. Bada bing. Man, I gotta stop trading spreads. It's just kicking my account's ass. And here we go. Screen share. Oh, the chart? This one? Oh, this is what you're talking about. We'll figure that out in a second. But I'm going to learn about Corning here with you for a sec. So let's take a look at the chart. Oh my goodness, look at this. So this is not even a year. Okay, here's 1 year's chart for ticker symbol GLW or Corning. AI infrastructure. We're just going to keep it simple with that. I'm not going to confuse everybody with that. If you want more information on Corning, just drop me some information. Drop me a comment, and then I'll go and deep dive into it. So I'm not dropping bad information here. But just looking at the chart here, I mean, it is up. Where's the lows here? Where's the lows? 37, and we are now at 176. Wow, Quantum. Congratulations on this position, bro. I'm not in this at all, obviously, because this is probably like the second or third time I even pulled up this chart. But it's really hard not to be exposed to AI in some way. I mean, with my positions in Intel and IBM is just so large, it's hard for me to pick up more. But oh, glass fiber optic will replace copper. Oh, I can see that for sure. I mean, I don't see copper being relatively useful in the upcoming years. It doesn't conduct electricity as well as what I assume glass fiber optic does. I mean, fiber optic cable I know transmits light at light speed, so if we can get more of that to transmit energy, of course we're going to get faster speeds. I would like that. And then, well, then we'll see copper prices go down. I mean, what would copper be used for if all of a sudden we don't use them for wires anymore? I don't know. It'd be interesting to think about coming up. Let's see what else we got. Oh, how did Bitcoin do this week? Wasn't even in it. There's so much other stuff going on. See. I'm going to turn off these comparisons. I don't even know what they're for. Hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah. We don't need that on here. Here we go. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin's still outside of my, what I like to call my orange box. but it's on its way back up into my orange box here. So we're kind of regaining that momentum into this kind of strong uptrend. Hopefully, we'll see. Um, I'm hoping that we get some decoupling beta wise Robinhood to Bitcoin, because that would be great. Bitcoin trying to break resistance at 80k. Quantum says, yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Well, before we zoom in for a second, you can kind of see that it's gonna be a tough breakthrough. Like, look how hard it was for it to kind of get out of there the last time. It was this kind of 80 to 85 area. So who knows how long it'll take to break it. But with that being said, it's good for the long-term use case for Bitcoin, because then it's got a stability area. It's got more of a resistance that it can kind of stick at, and maybe more people will be more comfortable to buy at 80k because it stays there a little bit longer. I don't know. Personally, I bought it all down here, right? So for me, now that it's kind of back in this orange box, I'm going to take a break for a bit. So no more Bitcoin directly. Now I still have stock ETF exposure. I'm not going to pick up more of that at the moment. Who knows where that's going to go? Quantum says short-term holder cost basis is 80k. Yeah, people will take profits at that point. Yeah, I can see that too. That's why we're going to get that kind of up-down that we got over here, where people are like, okay, it's not leaving, take some, boom. Oh, we're good. Oh, we're on our way back. And then people are like, nah, boom. Honestly, I don't know. The funny thing about Bitcoin right now, it's like, it's kind of taking a little bit of a back burner because it's not as exciting to talk about. But that's the kind of great time to sort of start sneaking in more dollar cost average for that position, however you want to get your blockchain on. Honestly, just please have some sort of exposure to the blockchain. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think it's going to be important for all of us moving forward. Now, I'm not necessarily excited to have like 24/7, 365 access to stock markets. Because what happens with the volume times? I don't know how to necessarily describe it. So you wake up at 3:30 in the morning. Oh, no. What time is it at New York? 9:30. So 9:30, the stock market's open in New York City. 3:30 for me. And you have to kind of anticipate everybody's waking up at the same time. Everybody starts their trades. And then the volume just goes up because everybody's starting the day. Opening range trading, as people like to call it. What happens if there's no opening range and the thing is just open all the time? Does options open all the time too? Honestly, I have no idea. Like, there's so many things that are going to be happening. But when stocks and options maybe get on the blockchain and start being traded on the blockchain, we're going to see more Bitcoin price action. Now, I don't think we're going to be trading stocks on Bitcoin blockchain. Like, I'm going to sound like an idiot to the Bitcoin maxis, and I'm going to sound like a genius to the people who have no idea what Bitcoin is. But it's just too expensive, I think, to be running all of the stock market on Bitcoin. I'd probably run it on Ethereum. Like, Solana would be a crazy idea, just because no way. No one's going to buy any stocks off of Solana blockchain. So Ethereum is probably the best possible chance. So let's check ETH price. Man, Quantum, if you're up, where the heck are you anywhere? Like, I'm in the middle of the Pacific, so for me, the time is currently 20 till 9 o'clock, so 8:40 or so. Oh, yeah. So obviously I have ETH and I bought it on a high, blah, 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 blah. But it's okay, so Ethereum is kind of been kind of doing like a sideways shuffle kind of thing, right? So I don't know where we're gonna go from here. I mean, it had a all time, or not all time. Well, maybe it was. Yeah, so it took an all-time high. It can't get over this 5,000. Oh, Arizona. Arizona's, what is the time difference? Like 4? Oh, okay, so it's like what, midnight for you then, Quantum? Little past midnight maybe? Was it 4 hours? 3 hours? Well, hey, it's late. Shoot. Well, thanks for dropping in at the late hour. Uh, but yeah, look. Okay, so let's get back to Ethereum real fast. So it's like a straight up negative on Ethereum on 5,000, but this would probably be one of the best blockchains to put stocks on. Like, I need to go do more like deep diving research. Uh, I'm a scanner, right? I just scan as many things as humanly possible, and then I take my vibes from that. So I don't know the nitty gritty details about everything because it's really hard to anyway. I'm not like, I haven't been doing this a super long time, right? I've only been doing this a couple of years. So, but from what I can tell, it doesn't want to go below here. Oh my gosh! Imagine if Ethereum got below 1,000, people would freak out. Because we're up here at the 2,000 range. I haven't been loading much more Ethereum. I just don't know what it's gonna do. I mean, look at the price action from this chart. Oh, nice. Well, hey, good job. Take that profits from work. But hey, yeah, thank you for dropping in at work. What kind of job is overnight? Shoot. Well, be safe, because all overnight jobs are sketchy. Like, people are sketchy out there in the middle of the night. Unless you're in an office, not so sketchy. Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe janitors come in and they're weird. Never worked in an office, so I can't say. But yeah, Ethereum, probably the best place to put it. Tom Lee's a straight up bull. We'll see what Ethereum does. It's just not tickling my fancy. I still got like BMNR shares too that like I picked up around Hood Summit, which was like last year, and I'm like just the painful hold. I mean, I bought a little bit more, but like I just, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. Let's cry about BMNR for a second. Man, my Robinhood Legend is tweaked, but that's okay. I manage. Oof. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit here. So as you can see, I'm not doing well in my BMNR position, but I just don't want to buy more right now. Like I don't know. I'd rather the gap close a little bit more to where my buy line was before I buy more. It's just been kind of stuck in this range, right? I mean, you can run some options if you want to. It's just, I'm doing other stuff. And honestly, the last few months was just not a good time to run anything. Who knows what the heck's going to go on the next few months? Oh, here we go. What we got going on? There's only one coin to rule. Yeah, you're right. 100%. I'm just like talking about how expensive it would be. Like, would it be more expensive to run stocks 24/7, 365 on Bitcoin than on Ethereum? Honestly, I just don't know. It just seems like it would be a little bit easier. Now, I'm not a big bull for Ethereum either. Okay, cool. Maybe Ethereum gets to 10,000 one day. I don't know when that's going to be. But Bitcoin, you know that Bitcoin's going to be 200,000 within the next 5 years. That's just kind of a duh scenario. So you're right about that, Quantum. It's all about the Bitcoin. And I'll take my exposure any way I can. All right, what else we got going on today? Let's check crude. I would ask Claude. Yeah. Oh my! There's so many questions to ask the Claudes and the Groks and the AIs. Ugh. Like, that's the one thing you got to know, gang, is moving forward into the future, you got to know how to ask a good question if you want to get good use out of any type of AI, right? Or you have to have a good imagination too. With AI agents and whatnot, you kind of have to create a universe that this AI agent is going to be in and create a sandbox for it to stay in. And if you can't have a good imagination, which requires a lot of questions on questions in your own mind, you're going to have a hard time using AI. So I think the first thing you should do is learn how to ask a good question. Not a question that you know the answer to already, like a good question. Just here's some homework for you. Just ask AI any question and see how far it'll take you. Just because it's important to learn how to ask a question. Now back to crude. Let's see here. Now crude oil is still within this kind of retracement range that I drew up. It feels like eons ago at this point that I drew these lines, but it's still right in here, right? We go down, we can't get out of this box here. We almost tested this 77, where we're here, 78, and then right back up. So it seems we're going to be dealing with some elevated gas prices for the foreseeable future. I don't know. I hope what are the gas prices like in Arizona right now, Quantum? Because they're terrible here. Thankfully, I don't drive. As you guys know, I don't drive. 6 miles a day. It's trivial. I feel bad for the individuals who have to drive a whole lot. All right. Let's get back to some information here. Let's make sure we got everything. All right. Now let's make sure we got everything recapped for the week before I continue on. All right. So here's some $4.30 a gallon. That's not bad. I mean, from looking from here, my gallon price is like $5.87 I said earlier. What is a gallon price usually like? Like, is that like $1 more than you usually pay? For me, $5.87 is basically $1 more than I usually pay, which is roughly about $4.50 to $4.70 on like a good day. Oil price is volatile, as we saw with the chart from the crude oil futures. Sharp rebound earlier in the week on the Hormuz ceasefire worries, no timeline, who knows. Then some easing later as talks hopes resurfaced. This weighed on energy stocks but didn't broadly derail equities. Yeah, because honestly, we just don't care anymore. Okay, so it's roughly about $1. So I mean, I guess it seems like you and I both are getting about $1 difference from where we usually are, which is not good. It's just that's so much. That's like a quarter. That's 25% more per gallon. I hope you don't drive a whole lot, Quantum. That's just ugh. Everybody's got to drive a little. But based on what I can tell overall, it just seems like, because I mean, it was just kind of a boring week, so I kind of judge a week based on how much I have to stick next to the computer, stick next to my phone. If it's a volatile week, or if it's like the stock market is doing poorly, I'd end up having to wake up a lot earlier to try to catch more signals early in the morning, or try to put out calls, or take profits like I had to do the last few months. But this week I don't have to wake up early. I could just be like, wake up at 3:30 a.m. when the market's open, kind of see what my positions are doing or should be doing, maybe open a call or a put on the SPY, go back to sleep, wake up, take profits or loss. That's just kind of what I had to do this week. So it seems that the overall market is kind of consolidating, which makes a lot of sense because we're at all-time highs on the S&P 500. Now, we've been here before, and we will be here again. What happens every time we end up at all-time highs, gang? Right? Think about it for a second. we come down. Now, depending on what brings down the S&P 500 is what's going to hurt the most in your portfolio. But honestly, I'm in good shape. I took a good amount of profits. Remember, Mother's Day is coming up, right? So please provide for your moms and your other halves if they are moms. Call your moms too, huh? Quantum says, depends on how many assets you're in. I've been concentrating more on my position since I don't have the bandwidth. Oh, okay, yeah. I get that. Oh my gosh, I get that. So, I mean, I had so many positions at the beginning of the year because I threw honestly, I think I threw way too many darts at the beginning of the year, but that was okay because I caught some momentum on the gold. I caught momentum on strategic metals through ETFs, and then I took profits later than I should have, but I took profits before it started to do that kind of first bounce between 7,000 and 6,800. We're just kind of doing that blah 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 for a bit. But yeah, mean reversion is real, 100%. Like, guys, like, I cannot stress this enough because I'm still seeing people like, oh, let's just keep going. It's just gonna keep going. No, it doesn't keep going. It never keeps going. Like, you're gonna just get kicked in the teeth again. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 chart, because we need to just show y'all how bad it can get, right? Let's not be naive about how math works. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna take off my squiggly lines because they don't necessarily work anymore. Here we go. Bada bing. All right, so as you can see here, we are doing pretty well now, right? This is such a huge gap, right? I don't like this space here. I don't like that space right there. Gaps want to be filled in. Like, I don't like, maybe it comes down to here, right? Let's anticipate we get a 6,500 test on the S&P 500 again. Real quick, let's check Kalshi for that too, right? Because I like to kind of check where people were putting their money who don't necessarily invest in the stock market. So there we go. Let's see how low our sister S&P 500 will go. How low? Here we go. Okay, so here's the overall Kalshi prediction trader chances of the S&P 500 getting to these numbers. Now, it seems we still got a higher than 50% chance we get to 6,300. That's pretty low. So let's take a look at where that is up here. Here we go. What did Quantum say? The Bollinger Band is expanding and it will peak. Then the trend will die and will go down. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I was just reading it and then trying to think at the same time. Yeah, 100%. Let's squeeze this in so we can actually see where. Oh my, yeah, look at this. Like, look at that. It's just thrown up here. Like, it might try. Like, maybe we get a push to 62 or 7,200. But then we're gonna end up right back here. Like, because then now, because of how long it took to get out of this range before we dumped off, this is probably our new support area, right? So we're gonna definitely come back to this 6,800 range, which is fine, because I mean, even on the let's take a look here, because you got the moving averages going on here too. They're all way down here. Now, the S&P 500 trades above its moving averages, but it definitely comes back to it too. So for you who don't watch and don't look at the stock market all the time, The S&P 500 is very important to the overall global economy as well as the national economy. It's got 500 of the most profitable, best companies that America can offer. But if those companies are getting pushed down by something, let's say right now it's oil and energy costs, then you get a bit of a negative reaction on the whole, and then the whole world has a negative reaction. But now that we're hitting all-time highs, I just take profits up here. I'm happy about it. It'll go back down, it'll come back up. I'm not being greedy. Like, if you're just a hold, stay, don't even think about it kind of trader, congratulations. You're that guy. Not me. I like making an income because money is fun and money is important. Money is growth for you as a person. Money can be for education. Money can be for vacations. Money can be for helping family. Money is important. Now, I get a lot of flack sometimes from people who, especially a lot of people locally, because a lot of people don't have money, so they complain about not having money to people who have a little bit of money. I'm trying to bring you down, like being comfortable is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Oh, here, what did Quantum say? Yeah, RSI is also going to get red hot, yeah. I mean, look at it already down here. Like, it's like tippity top, and look how fast it got up here, dude. Like, it's like, I can safely say you should probably buy some 700 puts or 7,000 puts. 700 on the SPY, but 7,000 on the S&P 500, because it has to. It's like, I don't know how fast it'll come down, but look how fast it went up. Like, it was just like badow. But the last time it kind of had like one of those rapid turnarounds. It's okay. This is getting wonky. Here we go. Down, up. Okay, let's do this one. Down, up. Now, so this one still came down when it tried to escape and leave, right? So its previous high was here. Yeah, so I mean, even conservatively speaking, from where it is now, it has to come down to at least 7,000 again. At least, or lower, right? I mean, 6,800 would be pretty conservative, I think. We got to get out of this war, though. That's the big thing looming, because if anything actually escalates again, there's going to be a bit of a turnaround. So take your profits while you got them. Not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm some dude on the internet. But honestly, you don't go broke taking profits, like I said earlier. Oh, yeah. Yes, that original one was a tariff tantrum, yes. Quantum says that that previous V-shape was tariff tantrums. 100%. But wars don't turn off as easily as tariffs. And we aren't even out of the tariff situation yet. Now we're giving people refunds on their tariffs. Okay, I mean, yes, there's a different thing going on to fix it. The U.S. needs to take profits from other countries. Fine. But, jeez. Like, we gotta just chill. We cannot get out of a war as fast as we got out of, as Quantum would put it, a tariff tantrum. So, I don't want to say that this is a hope rally, but it sort of feels like it. Like, on another completely different sector, medical sector, medical supplies, the medical sector as a whole isn't doing as well as it usually would be. I was reading Stephanie's Investors Guild earlier today, and I didn't realize that because I'm not necessarily super invested in medical per se. I just don't feel like super cool taking profits off of medical. It's just not my sector, 100%. But I have a position in what is it? SY? I'll have to look it up later. I can't even remember it right now. But it's got like AI molecules looking looking at how drugs relate to those molecules using physics, and I thought that was interesting enough to put a position in. It's down a little bit actually. I wish I could find it. Oh, here we go. Let me take my list here. I need to learn how to use this better. Un momento. So hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world as you're watching this, whenever you are. But medical's not doing as well as it usually does, and the rallies itself are just coming out of, I don't want to say thin air, but semiconductors are doing like super duper well. Like one of the best performing positions I have. It's not a huge position just because I don't buy big things in a small period of time. But the position I had was sizable enough to make a difference. Is sizable enough to make a difference for air test systems. Holy moly! Like, I think Crossroads, Dr. Roy, at Crossroads on X, and I think it's Dr. Crossroads on YouTube now, because he's a doctor, PhD. He introduced the thesis that he had on air test systems back when it was like $26. Now it's like over $100, and like the amount of FOMO I'm getting out of it right now, and I already have a position, and I'm like, oh, I should buy more, but like, I don't know what the bull case is on this. Like, I want to take more profits. I shaved a little bit just because that's a lot of movement in a short amount of time. But now, oh, I saw someone talking about like $400. Like, that's crazy. $400 in air test systems? Ugh. That would be nuts. Let's see what that is here. Air test systems. Doctor. No. Crossroads. Okay, no. What is this? Haha, Dr. Crossroads. Like, dude, air test systems? Over $100? Oh. Like, I can't even 100% say I know what the heck this company does. But I like the money, so. But I'm going to take a little bit more, I think. I don't see this going up that much higher, right? I don't know. Let's see here. Now, if you're just tuning in, I got into a podcast with Grandpa earlier, so that podcast will be coming up later on in the evening tonight. So please check that out over the weekend if you get a chance. Grandpa and I had a great time talking about his time working at IBM and working with Intel and installing the first computers in Hawaii. So that was just such a treat.
Bays, and it would open up and drop bombs out.
Sure.
Well, Boeing took that kind of plane and adapted it. They sealed up the bomb bay and they opened it all, and they put a buffet down there. You had a buffet. See,
there was a buffet in the middle of the airplane?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
No, not in the middle, towards the front.
Well,
and you go down some stairs from the main level and eat dinner.
You got some John over there cutting your meat, too?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they had somebody there. I can't remember exactly.
Sure.
It was a beautiful buffet they had. And
we don't have that anymore.
It was 13 hours from Honolulu to San Francisco.
Sure.
And
whoa, that's a long flight.
That's a long flight. 13 hours.
Flight.
It was about 11 hours.
That's a trivial difference.
Yeah, it was. And so you do that, and then when you're finished eating, some steward would come and say, "Mr. Plimer, your bunk is ready. Would you like to go lie down?
Sure.
And I said, yes. And I would go upstairs, and I had this,
Oh, man.
my own bunk, and we went the rest of the way. They used to say, go halfway with PAA. Now,
Okay.
Pan American went all the way, but they
Okay.
said go. Why did they say that? Well, there was one of these planes was labeled the Romance of the Skies.
Oh.
Okay. The Romance of the Skies. I was scheduled to be on that plane to go home before they told me, no, you're going to stay in San Francisco, 650 school.
Yeah.
Romance of the Sky never made it to Honolulu, crashed in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what.
man.
These are the kinds of things that happen.
I don't know if it's worth the buffet.
No, and often,
Yeah.
and I liked it. The only
Sure.
plane I really loved flying on.
I mean, you have a bunk bed and a buffet. I mean, what more could you ask for a 12-hour flight?
But what they had in those days, they had a ship halfway.
Oh.
Go halfway.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay. So they would take off from Honolulu
Uh-huh.
and head for the ship out there.
Okay.
And it was there in case you had to ditch.
What? So there was just a contingency boat waiting for
really.
you.
And
Oh, man.
that happened more than once.
Oh my gosh.
There was a different plane that got to the ship,
Yeah.
and the ships sailed in a circle
Okay.
and made
Dude,
a
for
flat.
sure they did. Grandpa has the
and that
best
plane
stories
dropped,
about
and
Pan
I think
Am.
it was a different make of aircraft.
Yeah.
It landed safely on the water, and they recovered everybody. But anyway, that's how it used to work.
That is just blowing my mind right now.
But a number of times I would be in my bed, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder, Mr. Plimer, we are turning around. We're going back.
Yeah, so that's my Grandpa David. My wife's Grandpa David, but I just call him Grandpa because he's my grandpa too now. Yeah, so first I'm going to cover your Pan Am statement. So Pan Am Airlines used to serve lobster in the sky. Yes, Grandpa has some of the craziest stories about what Pan Am used to do. They would, I mean, like just in that video, they took an old bombing World War II bomber and then just turned the bombing Bay Area into a buffet. Also, like, they had bunk beds. Like, what? We're bragging about the nonsense lay down crap we have in first class now. Like, okay, Emirates is great, but like Grandpa had a buffet. Now, at the same time, it did take like 11 hours to get from Hawaii to San Francisco, which is now kind of like a 5-hour flight with no chance of hitting with a less chance of hitting the ocean. But to cover your statement about I should get Steph on my show, yeah, that would be awesome actually. So my goal is to, yes, of course, get Stephanie Guild on the show here on the pod or record a pod with her and we can talk stories for a second. But I want the pod to be in tip-top shape before I get any of the high-level Robinhood executives, any of the high-level Kalshi founders, before I start knocking on any of those doors, my friend. I don't want to, like, I don't want nothing to inhibit or bring down their status, their position. I don't need them jumping into some janky podcast. So I'll get them on. I have an open invitation from Steph already, but I'm not going to ask until, like, everything's perfect, from lighting to audio to setup here. I want to make sure I'm looking like this is good stuff because I'm representing Steph, because honestly, like if that happens or when, like that's it. Like people are gonna see my podcast and there's no going back, right? So I'm gonna play in my little sandbox just a little while longer. Um, but I appreciate you thinking that I could connect with these people now in this way and do a good job. Quantum, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in from work. But speaking of stuff, so here's the overall breakdown on what I said about the healthcare sector. So I'm going to read a couple of snippets here just to keep it simple. The normally defensive healthcare sector is having a rough 2026 to start, down roughly 3.6% year to date. Our look into this, our look into its worst performers reveals three key drivers. 1. A medtech valuation hangover compounded by global tariffs. 2. Pharma vendors seeing spending cuts as drug companies react to policy threats. 3. Policy overhang on high growth biopharma from the threat of most favored nation pricing compressing multiples. Yeah, Steph is right. Steph is always right. She's the easiest thing to trade. Just follow her vibe and you'll be okay. Quantum says, put it out. Oh, yeah, bro. I mean, honestly, I would feel really greedy asking the universe for any more stuff. Like, my life is great. So I don't pray for a whole lot of stuff. I don't ask for a whole lot of stuff. I try to give more stuff than I can. But my overall goal is to try to provide good quality investor content for Hawaii because we just don't have it out here. It is embarrassing what the local news does for what they call a business segment. If I have to see Howard Dykes with another stinking dry erase board on the local news, I'm going to go out of my mind. Like, we're in the world of technology. I don't want to see another dry erase board on my TV. Unless you're doing equations, that's different. That you kind of have to go. You have to go a lot faster. It's easy. Doesn't matter. If you're describing a tech business, do not do it on a dry erase board. So I want to create good content for my local community and maybe one day for a more of a global place. But you already put it out there in the universe, so it's out there now. Maybe Steph will see this. But I want to do a good effing job to keep it lightly, right? But here, take a look at the overall year-to-date decline by percentage by sector theme. And as you can see, medical tech and biopharma, like they're all down. It's not great. I'm not sure why though. I don't know. Like, are people just not investing in medical anymore? Right, that would be weird, huh? I think people still need medicine. Let's see. So, like, yeah. Okay, so here we go. Take profits. Like, we don't see these breaking official posts. S&P 500 officially posts its highest close on record. Now up 7.6 trillion since March 30th bottom. Just take some profits. Trim a little bit. You don't have to trim a whole bunch. Just trim a little bit. Just like a little bit. Just so you feel better about when it turns around. Like, we were going to see 6,500 before we see 7,500. Yeah, okay, I sound a bit bearish. I was a little bit bearish earlier today, as you can see here. Yeah, I thought it looked like a good double top, and then I think we got some news, and then poof, right up to 714. Oh, whatevs. We win some, we lose some. Oh, Kalshi's adding more intuitive ways to connect with each other on their social platform. So please take a look at that. If you're not already in Kalshi Social, you can now kind of copy trade people, right? So that's great for some of the like the heavy hitters out there who are making just buku bucks trading on Kalshi. I keep it modest. I take my profits. I try to stick to what I know, and I'm not amazing at it, but I'm getting better. And with earnings coming up, I'm going to put a little bit more predictions out. Quantum says, just selling covered calls judiciously during this time of all-time highs. Yeah. Yes. 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 Covered calls. Just, that's perfect, right? Because you're happy about it, right? You're like, this is where I'm happy to sell it at anyway, and if it doesn't go past here, I keep some premium. Yeah, I'm gonna get way more into that. I'm gonna look more into the bro you follow too. I can't remember his name right now. Let's see. Let's just look up the man, the myth, the legend, the Quantum Queso Dip. So if you don't follow him, because dude's incredible and smart. Dude knows what he's doing. But this is the person that I'm gonna move towards. This guy right here. This is the bro that I'm learning a little bit more about. Trying to keep a good side eye on Mr. Is it De Niro? So I've only been reading his information, so I haven't actually pronounced. So yeah, his name's G. De Niro. And he's been doing great for Quantum. Like you've been learning a lot from him. So I'm gonna keep my eye on him too, right? Like we all follow together. We want to grow as a community. I'll follow what this guy teaches. Let's go. It's all for the greater good of making a great income here. So moving into the future, we're gonna see some more information about G. De Niro, because it's always good to have mentors out there, right? You don't ever know what's the perfect thing to trade or how the perfect thing to trade is. So it's important that you find as many mentors in different sectors as possible, right? So there's no maximum amount of mentors you can have in this world. So it's important to try to have as many as you can. All right. See if there's any other things going on. Followable Financial. I don't know what the heck you're doing on X at all. Just at least keep an eye on one of their stuff. They come out with so much stuff so often. Like they're one of the best trading financial mega social groups on X. Now, I've talked about this more than once before, but it's super important, so I'm going to bring it up again. Your emotions are what cause most of the concerns you have in your trading journey, right? Think back to the times that you didn't do well. What tended to cause that loss? Probably was some kind of an emotional sell. Did that stock come back? Probably, didn't it? Yeah. So it's important we keep our emotions in check and keep our plan secure, right? Make a plan, trade that plan, take profits. It's not that hard. But the plan, on the other hand, can be hard. And finding the right plan that makes you feel that you're making enough money, but not enough money to where you want to keep over leveraging it. Greed is a really small way to put that. But greed is a hard thing to quantify in trading. I personally I'm just not a super greedy person naturally, but I am optimistic and hopeful, and that can be sort of a greedy tell because I want it to go up and I will wait longer than I probably should have to take profits. But if everything is ripping, like today was an easy day to take profits. I was not mad about it at all because everything was at the top, right? I'm like, I'm going to put a covered call out here. I'm going to take profit here. I'm going to sell some puts here. How you trade is how you are. How you are is how you live, is what Quantum said. And yeah, he's 100% right. And because I had to learn how to trade from how I already lived, I had to try to figure out who I was and what I am that will provide good trading techniques. So at first, I was naive, like a lot of early traders. But with that naivety came luck. Oh my God, I was lucky the first few times. Made way more profit than I even knew what to do with. I didn't know the overall macro. I didn't know that I was sitting on an incredibly ripping bull market that I could have thrown my money in any direction, and it probably would have made profit. Was I a good trader? No. I was it was just going and going and going. I didn't learn how to become a good trader until I got my face kicked in and realized that I was way too fearless. And that fearlessness caused me to hold on longer than I should have to before taking profits. So I don't do that anymore. Not because I'm fearful, but because I want to take profits now. I know what can happen now. Over time, experience comes in and kicks in, and you remember the time that, oh, this happened once before, and oh wait, what happened when this happened? Oh yeah, this. So it's important you keep your emotions in check, you keep your plan in check, and find a good plan. Use AI, ask AI a good question so you can create an incredible plan, so that plan makes you profit not only today but tomorrow and for the rest of your life. My motto will always be for you, I don't want you to be the richest person in the world, because you won't get there. I promise you. You will not be the richest person in the world. But I don't want you to be the poorest person in the world either. That's way more achievable. So if I can give you guys techniques on how to never be poor ever again, that's what I'm going to push to you guys, because it's important to me. It's been happening for on and off since I left high school, but I've been seeing more and more of my classmates and relatives in god-awful situations because of the lack of maybe some discipline, maybe some luck. I don't know. It's hard to say that one person's life is easier than the other. We all have our challenges. We all have our obstacles to overcome. Money makes it easier, but making a plan and becoming disciplined makes it even easier on top of that. Because in life, it's just like trading the stock market. You create a plan and you try to stick to that plan. But when that plan doesn't go according, to plan, you pivot and you adapt. You don't just rigidly stick to a losing idea or a losing trade. You gotta pivot. There's money to be made all over the place. There's another idea that can change your life. But staying in a place that's comfortable but non-growth forward is bad for you, and it's bad for the people around you. I want people to be ambitious, and I want more people to know that you too can expose some of your money to the stock market in risk tolerant ways, right? Be safe about your money, and you can grow it. Now, I was reading and listening to, I read and I listen to a lot of different Robinhood information, so I know a lot about Robinhood, the company. And I think, now, this isn't exclusive. This wasn't like something I can go and get, but I'm pretty sure because of the overall job losses that's been happening and the job market is tough, the amount of time that people are out of jobs is a lot longer than it used to be. So I'm seeing through the tea leaves, I think Robinhood's going to create a income-driven portfolio. Like, we have Robinhood strategies, then we have custodial, also run by Robinhood strategies, but then we're going to have what I imagine is a high yield, savings account or a high yield portfolio that's designed to just pay you income. Now that's going to be great. Like, why not have some of that? So let's say you do a lot of day trading and now you're going to go on vacation for a month. You can reallocate some of that day trading into maybe that, I don't know, let's call it Robinhood income portfolio or Robinhood capital. I don't know, whatever. Robinhood money. But you move your day trading capital into there and let it just generate income for that month you're gone without you having to, let's say, just leave it in treasury bonds, making something small, but better than a savings account. Maybe you can get 6 to 10% yield off of this Robinhood money or Robinhood income. I think Robinhood income sounds a little bit better than Robinhood money. All right. But like I said, just put your ego down and take your profits. Now, if you aren't exposed to the stock market, give me 1 second. I'm going to tell you what to do. If you aren't exposed to the stock market at the moment, I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting a whole lot into the stock market right now. We are in an overall buying high, right? This is the time where Uncle Warren Buffett would say, sell the greed, because we're getting in that kind of greedy area. We were in extreme fear like less than a month ago. So, right, we could be back there in another month, right? So take your profits. Don't be greedy. Learn your lesson. Learn from me. My goodness. Just like if I could save you a single dollar today by telling you to take profits because your position just hit an all-time high and you're like, it's going to keep going. It's not going to keep going. It literally never keeps going. And I'll tell you another secret. It's not going to keep going. It's going to cool off a little bit. Just take a little bit of profit. Like here's a simple trade plan. For every 10% it goes up, take 10% profit. For every 15% it comes down, trims 15% of the position, right? Or add 15% more when it comes down, right? Just keep the numbers simple. When we have only a few positions and they're not worth a whole bunch, we don't care about them as much. But if we can hyper focus on squeezing as much income out of those positions as possible, not only by trading the stock up and down, but also through covered calls, cash secured puts, naked calls, naked puts, spreads. These are the option vehicles that are just the powerhouse of gaining just a little bit more leverage on the things you already own and the things that you would already be willing to sell at a certain price. Now what you're doing is you're setting that price and making a premium to basically sell it where you would want to sell it. And if it doesn't get there in this time frame, you get to keep your shares, plus you get to keep that premium. Covered calls and cash secured puts are not talked about enough, or maybe talked about too much. I'm not too sure. But they are the most money generating vehicles on the stock market. I think so. Yeah, okay, you can day trade, you can trade futures, but you got to be great at it. And those positions are so leveraged that if you don't put a stop in there, it could wipe you out completely. Oh, on that, let's bring that up for a second. So I've been mulling over it. And the SEC changing the rule from $25,000 in your portfolio to day trade to $2,000 and some sort of margin difference is going to like straight up ruin a few of your portfolios for sure. Like if you're sitting there excited because, oh my gosh, in like 30 days I can start day trading, take these next 30 days and day trade on paper, like paper trade. Like it is not easy. Like, so when you have money and you grew that money, you care about it more. $2,000 is piss money, right? That's fuck you money, right? Not like 25K where you're like, maybe I worry a little bit about that. But $2,000, you can go make that back. But $25,000 takes a little while. So it's important to keep that in mind when you're going to start day trading soon, if you're going to start doing that. Take your profits when they come. Use stops always. Put stops in. Cover your losses, just because it guarantee, like, this is where you would stop, right? This is where you want to lose no more money. Put that in, keep that in your mind first before you start your position. You're like, okay, this is where it is now, and this is how much money I'm willing to lose. And do that math first. Because if you write it down that number, and you're like, if your stomach gets all like, ooh, that's not a position, or that stop is too low, or too low, or too far away from your price. So just be careful about that, you guys. I mean, I'm going to cover more and more as I find out what the actual rules are for the pattern day trader change in rules from the SEC. I want to get that out to you guys as fast as possible, because that's extremely important, not for you, or for me, for the entire market. If we're going to end up with millions of degenerates out there who can now just day trade willy-nilly, this is going to be a huge problem at first. And then they're going to go broke. So it's important that you find some education, do your due diligence, and paper trade. Like one of my mentors, Michael Obasina, head of education at Robinhood, one of his main things is, what side of the market are you on? And that sticks with me, because that's how a futures trader thinks. He trades futures on the S&P 500, and he traded futures on paper for over a year until he was confident enough to actually jump into the actual futures market. Now, I was a little bit more, let's say less willing to wait that long. So, yeah, I lost a couple nuggets getting all overzealous, because what happens is when you try something new, luck takes over, because the universe loves to do that to us. And then you're like, cool, this is really easy. And all of a sudden, wham, right out of the sky. That's just how it goes. Grandpa Dave covered that in the podcast. He's like, he ran the first, he had another word for the program, but he ran his first program in the IBM 650 after he learned how to use it, and it printed out a perfect output. And that was like a delusional thing for him and for me. For anybody who just gets like lucky the first time, because after that you're just like hooked, and then you're like, you never get that luck ever again. All right, before I continue rambling on, this podcast has gone on a little bit longer than usual. I want to thank Quantum Queso Dip for dropping in the chat and bringing in some great information to me, and being able to and for me being able to kind of riff off of somebody for a second. I really appreciate that, Quantum. Thank you so much. Today's Friday, so I'm going to do my best to get a pod out to you on Sunday. I don't imagine any big news is going to come up, but let's cover how the futures opened up, and then maybe we can put some projections out for the upcoming week. All right, so with that being said, I want to wish you a farewell. Stay safe. A hui ho. And I'll see you on the porch. And please, take profits